Hey guys, so I am here on this next episode of Coffee with Numinus with Daniel Bricker. Good morning, Daniel. Thanks for meeting with me.
Hey man, how are you? I'm glad we could finally
Uh,
meet.
I'm well. Yeah, me too. Me too. So I know that you have a pretty rich history in the sports realm. D- Talk to me about if there about the intersection between sports and maybe like TBIs, because I know concussions are a really big
Mm.
deal in the sports world and beyond. Is there an intersection between those and psychedelics?
I absolutely think there is. I think right now there's kind of been an intolerance to it. I think it's had to be done behind closed doors. Obviously, these big programs aren't going to elicit and say, you got a TBI, take some mushrooms. Unfortunately, people are going, they're having to find that out for themselves. But I've done a couple of videos via the social media about PGA players that have taken it and gone on to essentially win the tour. Mike Tyson recently, he's a huge advocate for psychedelics. But in the TBI perspective, there's a lot of things from a neuro perspective that can be attainable. And we're seeing a lot of growth benefit with the whole neurogenesis aspect of things. But in cases of TBI and traumatic brain injury, essentially there's just deficits in that area. So I think with the benefit of a good psychedelic, of a good psilocybin that affects the 5-HT receptors, we can see a lot of growth and a lot of recovery a lot quicker. I think just, again, these big corporations aren't gonna allow their athletes or whoever to be taking these things willy-nilly. I think unfortunately it's gonna have to be done behind closed doors for the most part.
Right. Well, hopefully, as the research progresses, people will catch up along with it.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so speaking of that, if you were to take a snapshot of like what are your feelings on? Because I know you do quite a bit on social media regarding psychedelics. What's your lay of the land right now? I know it's been kind of a crazy couple months,
Yeah.
with the FDA decision in August, and then question 4 that got turned down in Massachusetts a couple weeks ago. So, what's your snapshot at the moment?
I think that's the best way to put it. It's been kind of crazy. And right now there's been a lot of drawback, but essentially all we can do right now is just keep pushing. And I think the most important part is that research needs to be done. And I think there needs to be an elusive kind of take on how beneficial these outcomes are, because most people and I think most corporations and just the general public aren't going to believe it until we start to see huge benefit. But unfortunately, to see benefit, we need the funding. We need more centers to be doing this. So it's kind of a catch-22 in this case. It has been unfortunate recently with Question 4 and FDA, or excuse me, FDA with MDMA. So I think we're really in a push right now. Our backs are against the wall. We need to put everything into it, and we need to get as much support behind it as possible.
So, what are your predictions? Last question. What are your predictions for 2025? Do you think we'll see some big leaps and bounds? Anything that's on the horizon that you think is coming on?
I think that's a really hard question to answer right now, especially with all the drawback we've had. From what I've seen, via the news feeds, via our social medias, there's a lot of push for it right now. And it seems like no matter how much drawback we get, it seems like more and more companies are pushing and advocating for it, which is, absolutely astonishing. And I think right now we're really in a building phase with, the mistakes we've had or with the mishaps we've had, especially this year. We need baby steps and we need foundational more than anything. But again, a lot of great people are doing great work, and I think there's gonna be within the next 5 to 10 years amazing outcomes from this. But to speak for the next year, I think it's pretty up in the air right now.
Yeah, we'll get there, right? We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We just have to work together. Yeah, yeah. Um, Yeah. Well, Daniel, thanks for so much for hanging out with us a little bit this morning. We love your social content. Always look forward to that coming out a couple times a week. And hopefully we'll get to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Josh.
Thanks, buddy.
All right.